Alright, before I start, I would just like to point out that the glass, when I initially leaned up against it, kind of creaked a little bit, and I'm 25 stories up, so that doesn't give me a ton of confidence, but, hey, if I die, I can sue them, right? Haha. Anyways, I think everyone who wants to look better and feel better should do bodybuilding, but not be bodybuilders. And the difference is that bodybuilding as a training methodology and bodybuilding as a sport are two different things. Bodybuilding as a sport has very structured rules, grading, judging, and the goal is to just put on as much muscle as possible and be as lean as possible for show day, and then go through a routine to show it off. That's bodybuilding the sport. But bodybuilding as a training methodology is simply training to build your muscles and to make them bigger. That's all that the training methodology is. And most sports that require any level of strength or power include bodybuilding, the training methodology, to some degree if they ever want to be competitive. And that's because bigger muscles means stronger muscles. Almost always. I would even say always. And before you get bent out of shape about that, right, you're going to say, oh, well, look at gymnasts. They're so incredibly strong. They're very strong. You're not seeing any gymnasts competing at World's Strongest Man. Who are the strongest people in the world? Probably the people at World's Strongest Man. How big are the world's strongest men? 300 plus pounds. They're very, very big people. Why? Because more muscle makes you stronger. Maybe not relatively speaking. I don't know how many of the world's strongest men could do muscle up on rings, let alone any of the other tricks that you'll see gymnasts doing. But I don't know any gymnasts who would be able to put 250-pound Atlas stone on top of their shoulders. I just don't think they'd be able to do that because they're not strong enough, because they don't have enough muscle. Anyways, the problem with building muscle and that being your only goal, aka bodybuilding the sport, is that it's very unidimensional. And if that's your goal, is to step on stage, then great. But if your goal is to look and feel better outside of the gym and not just on a stage, bodybuilding the sport is not what you want to do. Bodybuilding the training methodology is. But you want to include it with some other things as well. You don't want to train like a bodybuilder, but you want to do bodybuilding. And so most bodybuilders, most professional bodybuilders, aren't going to use the flat barbell bench press, for example, especially nowadays, as one of their main chest builders. And that's because, according to science, it's not an optimized movement solely for building chest muscles, right? There's other muscles that can do the same thing that bench press does, but better and in less tiring ways. Not to say that the barbell bench press doesn't build your chest, because plenty of people have done it. But it begs the question, if it's suboptimal for building the chest, what other things is it also doing? And one of the things that it's doing is building your horizontal pushing strength. Someone who can bench 135 pounds is going to be weaker, upper body-wise, than someone who can bench press 225 pounds. There's just no way around it. An even more controversial movement in the bodybuilding space is the standing barbell overhead press. It's a very tiring movement from a system perspective, from a central nervous system perspective. But when you look at most strength sports, they incorporate some kind of standing overhead barbell pressing, because it's fantastic for building up the strength in your shoulders necessary for vertical pushing movements. And it definitely builds muscle. But the thing is, because it's doing two things at once, it's not the best way to build muscle, but it's really good at both, but it is not the best at one. Because of the specificity of the bodybuilding sport, a lot of exercises, which are fantastic exercises, are thrown by the wayside as being not optimal, because if you're trying to optimize just for building muscle, then yeah, those exercises aren't that great. But if your goal is just to look better and feel better, those exercises are awesome because they're doing multiple things really, really well. They're not doing any one thing perfectly, but they're doing multiple things well. And if you're going to the gym, look better, feel better, and perform better, and be stronger, you want to do an exercise that's able to do all of those things, right? And there's tons of other exercises that have been considered suboptimal for bodybuilding. But if you're not a competing bodybuilder, none of those things matter. None of those other reasons are valid. You should be doing those suboptimal exercises because it provides other benefits that might not benefit a pure bodybuilder, but will benefit you. Further, I think that most people would prefer to have a high degree of athleticism along with a high degree of aesthetics instead of being exceptional at aesthetics and terrible athletically. The video that actually inspired me to come out and create this video was posted a few weeks ago, and it was of this one guy who's an exercise scientist, Dr. Mike Israetel. If you know him. And he is a pure bodybuilder. And in this video, it shows. He's done nothing except pure bodybuilding. He participated in a test delivered by a Navy SEAL, and it's 6 different physical fitness tests, and he barely passed the minimum threshold for 4 of the tests and completely failed 2 others. And he's 240 pounds, and he's quite lean. He's got a substantial amount of muscle mass. And watching how he moved, it was so robotic, and sure, he knows his stuff when it comes to bodybuilding. He's got a PhD in sports science, I think. He's got a PhD. I mean, his name's Dr. Mike Israetel. That's his name. Dr. First name, Mike, middle name, Israetel, last name. But right out the gate, the video starts off with the broad jump, which is just, you're standing at a line, you see how far horizontally you can jump. And Dr. Mike was able to jump, I think, 5'6" or 5'8", 5 feet and 8 inches. That's as far as he was able to jump. Like, that's not very good, especially for someone who's got as much muscle mass as he does. I wish I had it on video, but my farthest broad jump is 9 feet and 6 inches, and I'm 5 feet 10 inches. I'm not breaking any world records there, but that's the kind of number you're going to hear at the NFL Combine. And I don't do any jump-specific training. But what I do is bodybuilding training, strength training, and I've just maintained the athleticism that I've had since high school because my training reflects that. My training's never been about trying to get as big as possible. It's been about increasing my athleticism, getting stronger, and looking better the entire time. And so every single year, I'm in the best shape of my life because I've been training to surpass my previous year, the previous version of me. So the point of what I'm saying here is that if your goal is to look better, feel better, and perform better, not just in the gym, but outside of the gym, you should take the training methodologies of bodybuilding, but not worry about optimizing any of it. Because if you're optimizing, you're changing all the dials for a single thing, and that's size, muscular size. And you shouldn't do that unless your goal is to step on stage. Anyways, if you stuck around this long, I wrote out a whole script and then I just didn't follow any of it. So I'm sure that future videos are going to be a little bit more structured than this. But thank you for watching, and if you subscribe, I'm going to go into more detail about how exactly I go about doing bodybuilding without being a bodybuilder. You know, actionable steps instead of all of this just ranting and rambling. I hope the view is nice. I've been quite terrified this entire time because very high up and I'm scared of heights.